A1TV सब पे नजर अंदर की खबर
Have just asked me. I'm going to the Prime Minister and I will convey your request and hopefully you'll get a positive answer. Thank you.
Exports of our country was $4.4 billion. So in State Bank, $4.4 billion payments were made. Our exports for August were $2.1 billion, $2.4 billion, and our remittance was 2.1. So the inflow was 4.5 and outflow was 4.4. Then what was the havoc about? There was no shortfall in the interbank. And the currency had moved from 285 to 340 and everybody was saying it's going to 500. Reason was there is a 50% advantage to import goods duty free under Afghan transit. So at 285 in terms of currency who were importing had an edge of 140 rupees in exchange rate. So they could buy our currency from our exchange companies, hard-earned money of our overseas Pakistanis at 430. So it was going to 430. And the second time around, they were not bothered about the currency rate. They had to just sell their goods, take the money and have a second flow of it. And this was happening for last 1 year. And we went from 160 to 340. The inflation between our country and the world, the difference has to be adjusted in the currency exchange rate, which basically means that you develop a mechanism of real effective exchange rate. So difference maybe our inflation was 30, inflation in the world is probably 7, so 23% was to be adjusted. At a rate of 160, 23 meant 40 rupees. So the currency should have been 200 rupees at the end of June of 23. This was never being pulled by actual real effective exchange rates. This was never being pulled. This was being pulled by exchange companies. Now, this is one of the major steps when we brought in. This is the first time 3 lists were made. One, what actually Afghanistan needs, $2 billion. Second, what was being brought into Pakistan, $3 billion. So all put on negative lists. Third, maybe Afghanistan needs something. So we put in a bank guarantee and 10% processing charge so that those goods don't come into Pakistan. And that changed the whole complexion. We're down to 281 rupees. So the elephant was in the room. There was nowhere else. Now, our exports in July were $2 billion. I'm pleased to state here that we have ended this month at $2.7 billion. This month's exports have touched $2.7 billion. I've always believed that these reforms, which the government has done, the gas reforms, it is holding $600 million of our export potential. Because one company is buying energy, same energy, at $14, other is buying at $4. These are all state assets. We did not transfer that gas resource from south to north. We have kept that resource in south only. And we have only done domestic, what you can call WACOC, domestic take-up for that province. Now the average price is probably $9. So everybody, the new entrant and the old entrant, can run their industry at $9. This is going to increase our exports to $3.3 billion a month. We have touched 2.7. We have a $600 million potential, and we are going to make 100% of our industry operational by the time we complete our term. Secondly, tell me a country in the world with so much potential, 250 million people, all resources, natural resources, agricultural resources, mineral resources, human resources, such CEOs. What's holding us back? and a $300 billion economy, $1,250 per person per annum. I believe we are a $3 trillion economy potential. This is the best country to invest in. This is the best country which is going to give you the best results for your investments. This is the best country in the world. And we believe that it is only you who can make this potential a reality. And I believe we all will see a day when the world will be looking at Pakistan that we missed this opportunity not to invest. $1,250 per person per annum. Stock market at 3 PE. We are moving towards the next level, I believe again. Rise Pakistan, and that's my belief. Thank you very much.
GDP, our inflation, foreign exchange reserve, which was like $15.3 billion, and the poverty and a lot of things. I'm not going to talk about negativity about that. Well, I believe the whole world is facing that. All I believe, all I trust is productivity with the positive mindset, with the strength, with the faith, with the grace of Almighty Allah, and proceed over there. They talk about like foreign exchange reserves. We don't have it, we are going down or something, which is giving us more hard time. I don't think so. We shouldn't even talk about it. We shouldn't even think about it. I have one solution for that. I have one treatment for that. If you allow me, if you let me to talk about it. It's just like a cancer. We cannot, people talk about it a lot. Everyone talk about it like, okay, look, I got cancer, blah, 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 whatever. But the treatment for the cancer is to take the sucker out. That's the only treatment for that. Okay, people ask like how we can treat that. What we should do it to treat that. Treat the negativity, whatever we talk about, all that. I have one suggestion which I believe most of you guys, as like you are very professional and very honorable people who can definitely agree with that, is to bring the foreign investors here, to bring the foreign investment here. Okay, people ask about like how we can bring them. We are down, we are negative, we are not a good country, blah, blah, whatever. The solution for that is to building the trust. We need to build the trust for the foreign investors to come over there, to put their investment here and see like what kind of people we are, what kind of hardworking and genius people we are here. And how can we build the trust for the foreigners, foreign investment is, I believe we can win their heart is giving them the favorable environment. Let them to bring the investment here, give them the favorable environment, and I believe our country, our Pakistan is gonna go another level. I have a plan for that. I would love to talk to all my government officials and to give them idea like how can we bring that investment here. I have a whole game plan, and I would love to contribute to support giving my ideas for the better Pakistan in future near as well. Well, I have done my job. I have started bringing the investment here. I have opened a store here, the name of a Diamond Direct. That's on MM Road, Lahore. And we will love to, a lot of people, a lot of friends, a lot of family members, and a lot of other investors, they're waiting for me over there to see like, hey, let's see what's gonna happen to Diamond Direct. Hey, let's see what's gonna happen to Dr. Imran, how the people of Pakistan is gonna treat him, how they are gonna give him the good vibes or whatever. Well, I'm happy. I never had any kind of negative vibes here. Even my other, the people, they are all already in the gold and diamond. They welcome me. They welcome me with their arms open, with a beautiful smile on their face. So, Alhamdulillah, I feel proud and I feel honored that we have a great opportunities here in Lahore, in Islamabad, in Pakistan. And I hope, and I will always pray for especially for the people that you are sitting here, all the investors, all the we call it the CEOs, is they're keeping basically you people are keeping your chins up in that kind of a shaky time. This is something that I feel proud, I feel honored, and again, the last thing is that without bringing the foreign investment here and giving them the good atmosphere, giving them the good healthy environment here, I don't think so we can do anything. And the last thing is, I appreciate again for bringing me here and to let me to talk a little bit. I have seen a lot of pictures. You guys made me famous already, and I really appreciate it. And thank you, Mr. Ijaz Sahab. Thank you, all that honorable guests and everything for that. And again, thank you so much. God bless you all.
$12 billion worth of product every year. Now, the second figure you need to know that how much money gets back to this country every year. Anybody want to guess that? 70 million US dollar. Now look at the difference. We don't even receive 10%. We probably receive what 7% of the value. What is the rule of thumb? The rule of thumb is whatever the retail value is, you probably cut into half, and that will be the wholesale value. Then you take maybe another 10% off, that will become the exporter's value. You all CEOs, you can do this math. So Pakistan should minimum receive $4 billion every year. Who is stealing your money? Who is taking that portion from us? That's all we need to. There are so many other areas. If we just tap into that and regulate the industry and do what we need to do, we don't need to start anything new. We just can capture what we have before it's getting into other hands. Now, there's another area I always mention is a surgical instrument made in Sialkot, handmade ones. Pakistan makes 95% of that. Again, Pakistan only receive not more than 10% of the revenue back in this country, and 90% goes into Germany or some other country where they add low value or sometimes just add the packing material and they make all that money. So, do we have the stories? Yes. Do we have the attitude? Yes. Do we have the consumers? Yes. Do we have the people who work? Yes. There are multiple stories. When Pizza Hut opened their new stores, it happened to be Pakistan had the first month record sale, and it's not even how many 20, 30 years after, still Pakistan keeps that record of the first month. Whoever's from Karachi, that first month of Pizza Hut sale, nobody can break that sale even today. When they open up Tim Horton, you see the lines outside, consumers are in the line to so we appreciate, we are ready. All we have to do is given the opportunities. I went there, so he was very happy, smoking cigar, having a probably $1 million watch on his hand. So this is Pakistan, and he left 22 stores, and he's sitting in Pakistan in his very new store. Why? Because he has seen the opportunity that he can develop this business here. Like I said, this interim government has fixed, like our MC has mentioned. So, in this short time frame, I'm glad to say that this is there quite a bit work. Like we have seen the dollar was being unleashed, and the smuggling and so many other little deals, they have fixed it. So I think we are on a direction where this opportunity can convert into reality, that we can bring investments. Like I said, very, very short time frame, I was given a portfolio and I started some work. And I'd like to share that with you, that in less than 30 days, I will close the first deal of 200 million coming into pink salt area, where we will not just regulate, we will put the industry, we'll add the value, and we will take the ownership back of that area. And similarly, in the other couple of things I mentioned, I'm still working, and we will bring investment in the other areas and make the difference, in the economy. So, what I'm trying to say here is that whatever the circumstances are, the companies sitting outside Pakistan, they understand Pakistan offers good ROI. No one ever left Pakistan because they were not making money here. They may have left for the other reasons, but there is not one country you can tell me today that in the last 70, 75 years left Pakistan because they were not making money. So this is the place where they make money when they come and invest. This is the place where they have the growth. They have seen the people lined up. This is the place where they have all four weathers. This is the place where they know that the sky is the limit. And the areas like we mentioned, agriculture, mining, tourism. Let me just touch one item here that I come to Islamabad all the time, and I visit maybe 150 different countries in the world. The only place where you have to call somebody, some influential person to get you the room in a hotel is Islamabad. You cannot get hotel room here in either Marriott or Sareena. Either you call the IG of police or some of your friend happen to be a general. So that's the potential. We need to look at all that and tap into the area where the money is. Thank you very much.
Shahzad Rao Saab, he is the Director General of National Logistics Corporation. He's the man who rolls our economy on the wheels on the road. So General Saab, may I request you to come and let us have the way, how do we move forward for Pakistan, sir? Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. When you have less time on your disposal, I think it's better to stick on the script that you've been given. So I'll try to finish that in time. Respected Chair, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I being the head of National Logistics Corporation, feel extremely honored on participating in this event of significance. Automated sorting and retrieval systems, sourcing softwares with market intelligence, Internet of Things, track and trace devices, supply chain digital twins, intralogistic robots, AI-enabled inventory optimization, proactive field service and supply chain visibility software. But unfortunately, this is not the case with Pakistan's prevailing logistic industry. We need to keep pace with the world in this regard. National Logistics Corporation as an organization is cognizant of the changing trends and is fully prepared to tackle the challenges of tomorrow. Our domestic logistic industry is neither organized nor properly documented. Ladies and gentlemen, the logistic industry in third world countries like Pakistan is a labor-intensive industry, where each movement of a vehicle provides direct and indirect employment to 10 to 12 people across different areas of the country. Hence, logistics can be the major driver in reshaping our economy in these testing times. Our regional logistic outreach is even worse, and it is controlled to a large extent by operators based outside Pakistan, in our neighboring countries. In Pakistan, only 7 companies are registered as TIR operators, whereas in CIS country, the number is over 4,000. This clearly depicts the state of our organized logistic industry. We could not reap the benefits of our strategic geo-economic location, and resultantly, other players have usurped this space. Just to apprise the forum, we belong to a region which is well connected through a network of multimodal routes, logistic hubs, ports, and border terminals. Ladies and gentlemen, approximately 6 to 8 million containers move in and out of the Eurasian landmass, utilizing the road-rail infrastructure present. Although Pakistan provides the shortest approach to the landlocked Central Asian republics through Arabian Sea, but unfortunately, this is not an established trade. NLC has recently commenced regular road transportation from China to Pakistan and Central Asia. I would also like to mention our efforts to enhance global and regional outreach through partnerships of few global giants like DP World, Global Link Logistics, Centrum Logistics, Siva Logistics in China, and Tulam in Turkmenistan. We, as NLC, are making an endeavor to link all the dots on the logistic horizon through multimodal end-to-end services linking various important ports of the region. We are now booking cargoes for CIS countries from the ports as far as Mombasa, Busan in Korea, Bangkok, and Jebel Ali, which will now be transported from the ports of Pakistan by road. We are also focusing on enhancing exports of Pakistan like seafood, meat, citrus, vegetables, pharma, sports and surgical projects to CIS country by providing cost-effective logistic solutions to the exporters. Ladies and gentlemen, looking into the future, NLC is working on giving new dimension to regional connectivity through cross-border transportation and transit trade movements. NLC intends offering multimodal logistic solutions linking CPEC corridor with the regional countries. Shipments arriving at Karachi and Gwadar ports via sea will be carried by NLC by road using the TIR carnet system to reach cross-border destination that is mainly Western China and Central Asia. I am confident that traders and business communities of China and Central Asia will be the biggest beneficiaries of these services. Our multimodal operations will reduce the transit time by up to 70% and the cost of logistics up to 30%. NLC has successfully operationalized the Pakistan-China trade link via Khunjerab Pass, which will now remain open even during the winter season also. Chief of the Army Staff has given special instructions to Frontier Works Organization in this regard. Through these efforts, NLC is ready to offer valuable services to our regional clients. Our future plan include cheap energy solutions like LPG transportation and storage, reefer import and export shipments to and from Central Asia. We are confident that professional logistics services offered by NLC will not only facilitate domestic and regional business community, but will also help in enhancing transit trade and connectivity in the entire region, and will also encourage other logistic companies of Pakistan to invest in this sector. Ladies and gentlemen, we as a nation need to benefit from our important geo-economic location, which is indeed a blessing of Almighty Allah. Existing transit trade potential of the region is an opportunity which can not only help in overcoming the prevailing economic challenges of Pakistan, but also create substantial employment opportunities within the country. Although NLC is making efforts in this regard through international partnerships and engagements, but there is still a lot to be done. We need concerted support of our concerned ministries and government agencies, and above all, the business community. We need to be focused and remain sincere in our efforts. Rest assured, these testing times will fade away.
My point is very simple. We have everything. Above all, we have a very talented young youth that can be exploited. If we give them the right education, we give them the right motivation, and we look after them. You have to that. We've heard people come here talk about investment into Pakistan, how much they're willing to bring into Pakistan, how much they're going to be invested into Pakistan, how much time they're willing to give to Pakistan, right? Do we want to tie them up in red tape? Do we want to be bureaucratic about it? Right. So we have to think these out and how to cut across these problems that demoralizes and gives disincentive to people who want to invest in Pakistan. Let me tell you that Pakistan has a great, great future. I have no doubt about it. I have no doubt about it because when I look at the youth, that in my own group, I see them really bringing something to the table that is not really, other people would not be able to do in other countries. If you compare us in the IT industry only, if you've not been able to exploit the IT industry to the extent that we could have, right? So, whether it is the IT industry, whether it's the cotton industry, whether it's gold, whether it's minerals, whether it's copper, whether it's gold, right? Just think. Let me tell you, I'm sure not many people of you have heard of Gorakh Hills. In Gorakh Hills, there's a place in Sindh where it snows, in the mountains. It's a hill resort in Sindh. Then, why haven't we ever thought about a railway line from Islamabad to Muzaffarabad through the tunnels so that we can really bring in new tourist spots? So, what we have to do is to give work to the people here. And let me just say, I'm sorry the finance minister is not here, but I would have told her one thing. One of the biggest disincentives to business is these high interest rates. We only survived during the pandemic because they brought the interest rates down. Because they brought it down, the business survived. So let me tell you, in this doom and gloom, I was looking at yesterday the profits of the banks. There were 8 banks that declared an average of 840 billion rupees profit in the quarter. 40 billion rupees in the quarter, right? 8 banks, the leading 8 banks. Only out of all the banks, only 2 banks were without that margin of profit. Almost every bank is doing well. So let me ask you, if all these banks are doing well, why is the economy doing badly? So let's find out what really runs the economy. Keep the price of fuel down. Keep the price of energy down, and you will be able to run the economy. You have to find a solution to that. But above all, believe in your own potential. Believe in your own youth. Believe in things that exist but have not been used. You know, every day I'm past 77 now. Every day that I get up in the morning, I say one thing: Pakistan, thank you for being
sector. The two big focuses would be LPG and exploration. We need a lot more LPG than we import. We don't have the logistical infrastructure at the moment, and we don't have a market-based policy framework to allow more and more LPG to come into the country. That's a big focus. We are working on that. And going forward, the way we are seeing it, more and more domestic consumers would be shifted in the urban centers on LPG, and we need to have investments in that. And that's a big opportunity for energy companies. Currently, the LPG sector is dominated by a number of small players. I think we need the large players and our large organizations to come into this sector. Only then we'll be able to create the infrastructure that we need. And that's where I think the big opportunity is there in the future. The second big opportunity in the petroleum sector is in terms of exploration. As I've said repeatedly on media, there was a time period when we hardly explored any of our gas fields. The policies have not been conducive. We have a policy framework whereby we can get natural gas and at the rate which makes sense for most of the explorers. However, when it requires a higher investment, it only will make sense for the investors and explorers to sell it at a higher rate than the policy rate. We don't have that framework at the moment, and we are working on creating that. So depending on the investment size and the feasibility of the exploration field, people will be able to sell their gas either to us directly or to third parties. In line with that, we are also working on introducing flare gas policy, tight gas policy, and shale gas policy. And we have hardly even begun to explore our offshore exploration potential in Pakistan. It's a huge potential. We have drilled very few fields at the moment, very few blocks at the moment, and I think that's where the big opportunity would be. Our offshore basins,
would be, I think, explored a lot more going forward than they have been. And I think that's where a big opportunity is there for the local companies to join hands with the international companies who have the expertise, capital and know-how to bring them to Pakistan and engage in this activity, which is a highly profitable activity around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, in the end, I would like to touch upon a few pain points. The three pain points that we are facing at the moment, one is the circular debt. Circular debt in Pakistan has stopped increasing after the recent price revision in gas. It will not increase any further. Within the petroleum sector, there will be no more losses and there will be no more increase in circular debt. In the power sector, also there will be no more increase. However, that increase is not there because we have agreed with IMF that any loss will be paid off through the budget. So in reality, there is a loss in the power sector, but paid through fiscal. But the circular debt will not increase. What do we do with the circular debt stock? That's an issue that we have to solve. Combined, we have 4,500 billion of circular debt in petroleum and energy. Now, out of that, roughly 500 billion is duplication within the power and petroleum sector, and roughly $500 billion is the circular debt within the petroleum chain, and we can clean up all of that through accounting and payments within the system. However, we'll still be left with 3,500 billion of circular debt in the energy chain. Now, that's roughly $12 billion. That's a huge amount to sort out. If we do not sort it out, the funding cost on this will be a burden on the entire energy sector. We are working on that. We need to have a short-term plan to reduce it as much as we can, and then a medium-term plan to get rid of it eventually. In the caretaker setup, that's one of the big tasks that we have taken up, that we need to clean up the books, and we need to come up with a plan whereby the circular debt is eventually gotten rid of. The second pain point is payment delays within the power sector. Investors will not invest if they don't get their money on time. We all know that. So we are working on two fronts. One, you have already seen, we are working on reducing the theft in the power sector, and we are working on improving our recovery. In Pakistan, annual losses that we have within the power sector are to the tune of 600 billion, 587 billion to be precise. We need to get rid of this or reduce it substantially. So one thing we are working on is the power theft and recovery issue. The second thing that we are working on is on tariff realization, the tariff rationalization. We have kept a certain tariff over a number of years and we have lived with that. Now, I feel there are anomalies within that how much tariff is being paid by which category, how much is fixed and how much is variable, how much bills are going in summers, how much bills are going in winters. The consumption in summers is much higher than winters, people's income is constant, and we don't have a mechanism of average billing. So there are some issues within the tariff rationalization that we have to see. So we are working on that. The third pain point that we have is the overall energy planning. That's not really a pain point as much, but that's one of the areas that we need to focus on. Why have we suffered in the energy chain today? One of the big reasons is our planning has not been the way it should have been, and we have learned from the past. In the past, when we had excess generation, we were still putting up plants on fossil fuel. Today, the share of wind and solar is much lower as compared to what it should have been. The world has gone way ahead in terms of renewable resources than we have. So the planning issue needs to be looked at. And currently the planning is happening in silos. There are plans being made in Power Ministry, there are plans being made in petroleum, in the planning. And we need to bring it all together. Now that's one thing that we are cognizant of. In the caretaker setup, we are trying to come up with a mechanism for the future. I'm not sure whether we will be given the short time period that we have, but I'm highlighting because that's one of the areas that we need to work on in the future. So ladies and gentlemen, the message I want to leave is we have tremendous potential in the energy sector, tremendous potential. In terms of energy consumption per capita, we are way behind the rest of the world, way behind. On one hand, we are talking about excess power. On the other hand, per capita consumption is so low. Why is that? Because of two reasons. Number one, we have not really provided electricity and energy to a number of areas in our country. We need to provide that. And number two, the reason we have such a low per capita consumption of energy is our industrial base is very, very low. Globally, the share of industry in energy consumption is much higher of the total than we have. And the reason has been that we have not really made it affordable for the industry or some of the industries. And secondly, we are focused on a few industries and we have not really done the homework that what are the industries which can be set up and which will consume lesser energy per unit of production as compared to what we are already doing. So these are some of the areas that we are working on. We'll try to take it forward as much as possible, and we hope that the next government will continue working in this direction so that Pakistan grows, our industrial base grows, and we are able to provide energy at affordable rate to our consumers, which is accessible for everyone and which is sustainable for the sector. Thank you very much, all of you. It was a pleasure interacting with you, and look forward to any Q&A that you may have. Thank you.
A1TV सब पे नजर अंदर की खबर।